What's going on, everybody? I was testing a new theory, see if I could get all the social media sent out before the music was playing for too long. Fail. Welcome, everybody, to the Straub Bros Sports Show. Big Bro here with Little Bro. Little Bro, how we doing?
We're doing good. I will say, though, today was the first day that I walked out of my apartment and was like, oh, it's cold.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
it's
morning.
it's legit. I was like, okay, we're getting into fall. I need to start taking out some sweatshirts and some extra pairs of jeans out of the storage.
Listen, I get up earlier than you and I leave earlier than you, and man, it was cold. Okay, it was cold this morning. I was wiping windows. I had the hood sweatshirt on. What's up, Mom? Your favorite guy's locked in. Thank you for our weekly weather update there, Straub. Since you brought up weather, thoughts, prayers, positive vibes, all of that in the world, all headed down to Florida, North Carolina, Virginia, all the Carolinas, and especially Florida, who were hit horribly by that hurricane. Man, are just, I hope you guys are okay. I hope you're getting power back soon. And I hope you're able to recover. So we'll definitely start the show on that note. But thank you for joining us here on the 216 Sports Network. Whether you are following us on Facebook or whether you are liked and subscribed on YouTube, what can you find on the 216 Sports Network? A little bit of everything. 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, the Jay Rich Show, the Ruler's Minute with Rico McGee, Outside Interference, and the Straub Bros Sports Show. Where can you find the Straub Bros Sports Show? Everywhere, baby. You can find us on Twitter at Straub Bros Sports. You can find us on TikTok at the SBSS. Instagram, blowing up at Straub Bros Sports Show. And on Spotify, Straub Bros Sports Show. Spotify update. I have carved out the time. There will be a major Spotify update this weekend. I know I keep talking about that kind of stuff, but it's in the schedule. I have it locked in. I'm off this weekend with the Rapids, so I will be doing that. And thank you as well, Pops, for giving me the dap there on the hurricane news. Friends of the show, make sure you follow my guy Austin at Create Your Own Wave 2021 on Instagram. Get your own apparel at cyowapparel.myshopify.com. Don't ride the wave, create your own. And last but certainly not least, our Rapids. Oop, wrong graphic. I meant to put the schedule up on that one, but that's okay. The Rapids, we are your official broadcast team. I have been doing some interviews. Please make sure you check out the Instagram and make sure you follow the Falls Rapids on Facebook and Instagram. I have talked to, and I appreciate that compliment, Mama. I have talked to head coach, assistant coach, defensive coordinator, special team / running back coach. Still going to get our offensive coordinator in there as well. The coaches were awesome. Check those out for your kind of your mindset into the coaching staff. And then this week we dropped player interviews that started with my guy Drake. I talked to Deshaun and Sham as well, running back, defensive end Drake, defensive back Deshaun, and defensive back / wide receiver Sham, right? Please go check those interviews out on Instagram. They were a lot of fun, and they were honestly some of the best interviews we've done. And that is no disrespect to any of the Cleveland State players that I've interviewed or the coach or to any of the Akron City players, but these Fall Rapids guys, they got some quotes and they've got some good answers to these questions. Some serious stuff, and then I backed it up on the end with some good fun rapid fire stuff, which I still got some great answers. So please make sure you guys are checking that stuff out. I don't know why I just took Drew out instead of the graphic, but that's what I get. But yeah, make sure you check that
taking
out.
me out of the frame.
Absolutely. The schedule dropped this literally last night. It was supposed to be on my updated graphic, but I apologize. I loaded the one from last week. Big stuff going there. The Rapids will have a bunch of home games against the surrounding Ohio area team. And then we've got 3 road games to travel to, one out to Youngstown, one out near Pittsburgh, and then one out near Morgantown, West Virginia, baby. So me and Drew will be headed back to the roots there. But it'll be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. More interviews are going to drop this week. The Rapids themselves are kind of debuting them one at a time, which I appreciate, kind of giving each player and coach a spotlight. And then next week, teaser alert, I won't be at practice or lifting this weekend, taking the weekend off. But starting next week, because I've already got them in the vault, baby, our quarterback series will officially drop. I interviewed all 3 quarterbacks at practice on Saturday. So those will drop throughout the week, and we'll be in touch with those guys much, much more throughout the coming weeks. And I will say this, Drew. Apologize, I'm rambling here. You haven't been to a practice yet. You haven't been with the Rapids yet, but not this week. The following week, you'll be with me. Drew will be doing some content. I will say this. This has been my introduction to this level of football. So I'm working on a base knowledge of nothing. But I will say this. I watched the guys play a little bit. They were lining up, running some drills, and it looked pretty damn sharp for the first practice. I'm just going to let you know right now.
Okay.
So big, exciting things coming with the Rapids. Drew will see more of that, and we will talk more about that as it comes. Whew. What up, Nick? What up, Nick? And Craig, he was talking to us, not you, but that's okay. So with that being said, Drew, let's get on with the show. We have got some news to kick off the show. And unfortunately, it's we're going to start the show in memoriam. We lost 2 giants in the sports world this week, literally within 24 hours of themselves. The first was Dikembe Mutombo, who we lost this week at the age of only 58 to brain cancer. From the Democratic Republic of Congo, first overall pick out of Georgetown, where he was all Big East and 2-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year. He had a 10-year career, was an 8-time All-Star, 1-time NBA second team, 3-time third team, a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, a 3-time defensive first team, 3-time second team. We've got an all-NBA team, 2-time rebounding leader, and 3-time block leader. His number 55 is retired in both Atlanta and Denver. I'm going to let you speak on the humanitarian side, but I will say this. Dikembe Mutombo is a legend in the NBA. Dikembe Mutombo is a legend and a standard for centers. And the greatest compliment that I can give Dikembe Mutombo's playing career is when you talk about any center in the modern day. Yes, they compare them to Shaq and Akeem and David Robinson. But if that center plays any bit of defense, the first person that he is mentioned around is Dikembe Mutombo, because Dikembe Mutombo is the gold standard for defensive centers all time.
No, you're absolutely right. And he's one of those players that maybe doesn't come up in terms of the greatest ever or anything like that, but was one of those players that will always be remembered, not just for his play on the field, but for the work he did outside of the court. And I'm just going to list some of these off. And this is just a drop in the bucket of what he kind of provided for people just around the world and also his hometown. He paid for uniforms and expenses for the Zaire women's national team during the 96 Olympics. In 2007, the Mutombo Foundation opened a $29 million 300-bed hospital outside his hometown of Kinshasa, $18.5 million of which was his own money. The hospital was the first modern medical facility built in the area in nearly 40 years. He was a part of many organizations such as CARE, International Relief Agency. He was a member of the Special Olympics International Board of Directors, a trustee on the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia, which is a museum dedicated to the U.S. Constitution. And he was the chief global officer for Ask the Doctor, a platform that connects people from all over the world to top doctors and healthcare professionals. They constructed a modern pre-K through 6th grade school in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 2020. And in 2021, he also created a coffee company initially focused to generate women's growers' participation in international commerce. This man literally had his hands in everything, and all of it was just to raise people up and raise people out of poverty and to make them better. Because, listen, growing up in the DRC, you have very, very limited opportunities. So the fact that he was able to do that, he was quoted as saying there is a Congolese saying, if you take the elevator ride up, make sure to push it to make sure it goes back down so people can take the elevator. He was such an amazing human being that was just so genuine. And we did lose a legend of the game, but a legend of a human as well.
That was you got me choked up there. That was beautifully said, bro. Yes, we lost a legend on the court and a legend off the court. And I say this a lot, but I say it when it's true. When you go and listen to like guys like Charles Barkley and other NBA legends who have come out and posted videos, listen to how much they talk about how great of a person Dikembe Mutombo was. Because to finish up a couple things that did drop in the chat. No, he was not. I did double check that. Give me some finger waves, baby. That's what we got. And yes, my man had one of the most outstanding block ratings in 2K history all the time. So rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo. We lost you way too soon, but we appreciate not appreciate, but I love that you are the definition of living life to the fullest and using every bit of your wealth and success to give back. So a big shout out there. Switching over to Major League Baseball, on the Major League side, we also lost the legendary Pete Rose this week. Pete Rose kind of has two, I think, large blocks of memories. I think anybody who is older than us, our parents and our grandparents, they remember the legend that Pete Rose on the field. I think the problem that, or the unfortunate side, is for your generation and a lot of mine, Pete Rose was turned into a show and a gimmick. And it was unfortunate because this is one of the best and greatest baseball players to have ever laced up the cleats. You're talking about a career 303 hitter, 4,256 hits. Yes, he's the career hit leader. I don't care. 17-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, 2 times with those wonderful, awesome, amazing Big Red Machine teams in Cincinnati. He won one with the Phillies. He was the 73 NL MVP, the 75 World Series MVP, a 63 NL Rookie of the Year, a 2-time Gold Glove winner, a Silver Slug Award winner, a Roberto Clemente Award winner. Those aren't easy to come by. Those are given out very distinguishedly. Those are humanitarian awards, just for the record. His number 14 is also retired by the Reds, where he is a Reds Hall of Famer. I will allow my brother to speak before I touch on the other half of this, but we lost a legend in Pete Rose, a great ambassador of the game as well. I don't care what. Today is not the day to bring up some of that other stuff. I don't care. The man died. We can eulogize him for a week without having to pick him apart. I shared a clip on my Instagram. I think it went over to my Facebook of him, A-Rod, and excuse me, and Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt, breaking down, some swings and, approaches. And it just shows you how great Pete Rose was.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think one of the craziest stats that I've seen, in terms of at least today's game, where you have a lot of players either stuck to one position, or if you're a utility player, you're not at that kind of level. He made 17 All-Star appearances in 5 different positions, which is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. One of the best utility players of all time. Could literally play him anywhere.
And not utility in terms of being on the bench. Utility as in I can literally start you anywhere.
And you'll be as good as you were in any other position. But I do want to mention what you said on people kind of taking reactionary things. Because I didn't open the article because I thought the clickbait of the title was too much. The title basically went, Pete Rose's career and life will be marked by degeneracy and his inabilities. And I just, in my personal experience living in Cincinnati and kind of getting an idea of kind of what that man meant to the community, this is a man that poured out his heart to the game from minute one up until he died, really, just wanting to give back to the people that cheered him on for all those years. He grew up, his hometown was in Cincinnati. He played there. The people loved him, and he loved them back. Even when he moved and went to Vegas 10 years ago, anytime that there was a major event or the opening day or anything like that, he was there. He was routing on the crowd. He was signing autographs. He always did autograph sessions. This is a man that, while can potentially have somewhat of a mark on his managerial career in terms of his playing career and just his life, was an amazing human being that gave back to everyone who helped him along the way. And there is nothing you can do to change my opinion on that, even if, you know, he made one or two bets on something that, in my mind, is a minuscule thing in terms of what he's done positive.
Man, once again, that's very well said. Comment of the day so far right here from Nick. The man did, I get it. Okay. It isn't the elephant in the room. It's literally what is painted on the walls and what is the lighting, and it's the gambling and it's the betting. But number one, we don't talk about that side of him enough. Number one, we don't. We don't talk about how great of a baseball player he was. We don't talk about how great he was talking about and trying to give back to the game of baseball once he was retired or, you know, gone as a manager. And we don't talk about enough of, like you said, man was willing to show up to anything to be around. Yes, he sold his autographs. He wasn't able to make money like some of the Hall of Famers were because of the restrictions that he has and because of the way they wanted to keep him away from certain parts of baseball. So I don't blame a man for trying to make a buck. Hell, I wish I would have gone to one of those autograph signings and got me a picture. I'm not going to lie to you. As an autograph buff and a memorabilia guy myself, you're 1,000% right. We don't talk about it enough, and this leads to my last point, and I won't rant for long. Betting is modernized in sports and just in general now in our life, in our society, more than ever. Okay. Pete Rose, and I've said this multiple times, I don't care at this point if you want to pretend like he never managed a game in his life. Okay. The same way we have put in guys who have juiced, excuse me, and we don't take them out. Okay. The way there has been a rally that at this point we need to accept that baseball allowed the steroids era to happen and we need to just accept it and move on. These guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame based on their numbers. They're inflated. They're always inflated. The history of baseball is the history of cheating. Period. End of story. Okay. And we don't look back on some of those older guys in the same light anymore because we've just accepted it. If Pete Rose got caught today, if he was Tom Brady and he got caught betting, we wouldn't take away the championships from Tom Brady. So I don't want to hear the stats taken away from Pete Rose. He deserves to posthumously be inducted into the MLB Hall of Fame as a player because his contributions to the game for me outweigh any mistake. I don't care about the sign that's up in every clubhouse. We've also been told all our lives to not cheat and take drugs, okay? But we still let those guys into the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Beyond that, I fight for you, Pete. We love you, Pete. We miss you, Pete. Rest in peace, Pete Rose. Okay, now I want to keep it in baseball, but I want to switch over to some other news because it's a good thing. Major League Baseball finally did a good thing. Starting in 2025, so next year, the MLB has announced that all players in the MLB All-Star Game will be wearing their primary home or away uniforms in the All-Star Game. That is, I love it. Go back to that. Give them the All-Star hats and let everybody rock their jerseys so that way these kids can understand who's on the field and know where their guys are. But I absolutely, absolutely love that. You got some news for me then, and then we got to get rolling.
Yeah, I would just say that one, the jerseys were done as to make more money, but two, it would have been okay if the jerseys didn't absolutely suck. Anyways, yes.
And I'm on the unpopular opinion alert because I actually like this year's MLB All-Star jerseys compared to some of the really bad ones the last couple years. But I'm good with this. This is the better move. Keep it going.
All right, yeah. So 2 quick stints. Gonzaga is joining the Pac-12, a massive deal for both sides, as we see signs of life again from the previous Power 5 conference. Is this a revitalization of the conference, or I guess just a way to stay alive? I think this is kind of time will tell on that because it's really going to have to see what other moves they make. But I think this is a good step in the right direction.
The one problem I will say is they let go of a bunch of good teams and are replacing them with worse teams, where that works when you're the Mountain West, and that works when you're some of these.
That is all sports that Gonzaga plays in.
And that's the problem. Like, Yeah, great. You added one of the best basketball teams in the country to your conference. You added 0 on the football side. And unfortunately, right now, that is where the money is. So, my problem with the Pac 12 is you're not replacing on football with enough quality. So, but still, time. This changes every day.
Yes. So speaking of college football, there has been an interesting proposal that has just come out. So a group of prominent business leaders, ADs, and by the way, Nick, Gonzaga does not have a football team. By the way, just
Oh,
putting that out
yeah.
there. Just like lacrosse, any sport that they have that is college level, they
Men's
don't
and
have.
women's basketball, but go ahead.
So yeah, a group of prominent business leaders, athletic directors, and school presidents have announced a proposal that would reorganize the 136 FBS schools into 2 conferences. All 72 Power 5 schools and 64 of the Group of 5 teams. The conference will be split into 12 divisions and feature a, quote, geographical and result-based scheduling model to foster more competitive matchups while still preserving certain long-standing rivalries even between teams in different divisions. The season would end in a 24-team playoff. Additionally, the league would collectively bargain via a single comprehensive players association, which could lobby in tandem with the league in actions against Congress, such as players getting paid, the NIL, transfers, eligibility, things like that. Other proposals floating around this include a salary cap for football programs and limiting players to 2 transfers in 5 years. Now, listen, this is just a proposal. There is no traction on this whatsoever. I just thought it was pretty interesting because it seems like we are now trying to avoid the SEC and Big Ten grab of everything and now turning into a strictly football sense, sort of kind of like what you have suggested in the past, where kind of football breaks off from its own and let the other sports do everything else. So not a terrible idea. I think there's a lot that could go wrong and also just a lot of not great ideas, but there is a premise now, and it's not just taking teams now.
Do I look more pissed off now or when the coach the other day when I was coaching was trying to do drills with me and my team at the same time?
It's pretty close.
So first of all, when you sent me the link, and I'll use the joke, I thought you were sending me the soccer super league that we had talked about on the show before and that was proposed because I didn't understand what the hell I was reading. If you give me 4 or 5 conferences, I'm much more willing to entertain this because 2 is awful. There's just no need for that. That is an absolute cluster F unless you're just splitting 2 sides of the country. But then you are getting rid of some of those traditional rivalries because not all of them are next door to each other. Not everybody's Ohio State, Michigan, and Alabama, or Alabama, Alabama, Georgia. Hello, Notre Dame, USC is as big as they come as well. You know what I mean? There's some big ones.
Well, it would go across conferences, is what I heard.
Okay, so give me 4. Give me 4 conferences and give me, I can't do 24 teams in a playoff. That would just drive me insane. Give me, if you can scale that back, which they won't now, because if you're at 12,
16.
you're not. No, God damn it. Give me 8, first of all.
I want 8 originally, but if we're scaling it back,
give me 3 from each conference. So give me 9 and then give me 2 at larges. Give me back to 12. Okay. But yeah, here we go. I guess I get what I asked for, huh?
Yeah. But like I said, this has no traction. It was just a proposal. I'm sure it'll get rejected and anything like that. But you never know.
You depressed me. Not gonna lie. Okay. Yeah, March. That's what we're gonna get. March Madness style for football. 64 teams. Literally Navy, Georgia Tech, and Florida State are gonna be in playing for this. You got any more news? I do not.
I do not either.
All right, let's give away some awards. We're going really long. We got to start speeding it up. It's time for your first edition of the John Fisher of the Week Award, presented by the most awful owner in sports, Oakland Athletics, and San Jose Earthquake owner, John Fisher. My first award, or no, you go first. Sorry.
Yes. So, I mean, if I'm being honest, there wasn't a lot that went wrong this week.
There really wasn't. This was a tough one.
However, the things that did go wrong impacted me greatly. My Straub Bro of the week were basically all of my sports teams except my soccer team, Chelsea.
John Fisher.
The Bearcats lost a heartbreaker after a fumble on the first drive out of the half, a pick six, and 2 missed field goals. The Browns again played down to their opponent and lost another game that should not have been close. FC Cincinnati has lost 2 in a row and are limping to the finish line with 5 points in 5 matches. And even the Guardians got rained out on Sunday, preventing Jose Ramirez from trying to get his 40-40 season. So all of those teams are my John Fisher of the week because, damn it, I need some happiness in my life for my sports teams. And the one that I wasn't anticipating being any good is the only one keeping me alive right now.
Go Guard. Excuse me. Go Guards. Yeah, I was very disappointed that Jose did not get a chance to try to get to that 40-40. And never apologize for being late, Daniel. You missed me mess up and not have the right graphic up today. So that's okay. And yes, what Nick said, all of the above. I'm back to breaking my own rules. So I've got multiple John Fishers of the week and I've got multiple Bros of the week. So my first John Fisher of the week award goes to John Fisher. You're back-to-back winner, and you are the honorary first award winner for me of your own award. So you are the worst owner in sports. You lied to the city of Oakland and the Athletic fans, and you have ran a once proud San Jose Earthquake franchise into the ground. Congratulations. My second one is to Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes, 2 red cards in 2 consecutive games. Yeah, Drew, I thought about it. I know we might get sued for it. Whatever. We'll deal with it. We'll have to take this week's episodes down. But Bruno Fernandes, 2 red cards in 2 consecutive games. If you want to know how that happens, one was in league play, one was in cup play. We won the appeal on the first one. Who knows? We'll win the appeal on the second one. Way to suck. Now, let's give away some good awards. Your honorary Straub Bro of the week presented to you by Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Don't ride the wave. Create your own wave and become a Straub Bro of the week. Bro, you're up.
So I'm pulling you in back-to-back weeks. I got 2. First is the one, the only, Ashton Jaunty. Absolutely fantastic, alert. Man. Ash Jaunty for Heisman, absolutely over anybody. 26 carries, 259 yards, 4 touchdowns. Just another day at the office for this man. Absolutely insane numbers here. So props to him, as Boise State actually cracked the rankings this week. And so now my second one is a little bit more emotional, a little more heartfelt, and that would be the Heat G League affiliates, the Sioux Falls Skyforce. This is because announced on Wednesday they acquired the rights to returning player Tony Snell. Now, why this is, I guess, better than just a regular pickup is that, as some people know, Snell in, I want to say, in June 2023, he had been diagnosed with autism. And so it was a little bit tough and a little bit, hard on the family. But what's really nice is that there is a rule in the NBA that where is it? I'm sorry, I'm floundering right now.
You want me to help? I got you. Okay.
If you can, yeah.
Yes. Once you hit your 10-year tenure of being an NBA player, you qualify for benefits and insurance for life. Tony Snell had only played 9 years. He tried out with some other teams and didn't make it. And finally, the Heat, and I don't care what you say about the Heat, about anything. I know Cleveland kind of has some issues with the Miami Heat sometimes. Class organization, top to bottom. And they signed Tony Snell. Tony Snell will now qualify for that 10th year and will be able to have insurance and medical for the rest of his life. So, yeah, that's just – it's great.
Thank you.
Great. You're welcome.
Couldn't find my notes on that.
You're fine. I got you, bro. That's what I'm here for. All right. My turn?
Yes.
All right. Get your hankies out, okay? I have multiple Straub Bros of the week, and they are all yes. Thank you. First of all, that is amazing. That is amazing. That's the good kind of stories that we need. All right, we lost Drew for a second. That's all right. I got this. Get your hankies ready. My Straub Bro of the week all touches on one team, all touches in one place. So let me roll for a second. My first one, to the Oakland Athletics manager, Mark Kotze, and the Oakland players, who in their last home game went out and beat the Texas Rangers 3-2, leaving their home fans out on a win. So first things first, salute to the players and the coaching staff. Secondly, right back to you guys, the staff, coach, Mark Kotze, the players who ignored Major League Baseball and the Oakland A's owner, I won't mention his name in this segment, their memo, who had asked players to rush off the field, do not linger, do not take photos with fans. They did the exact opposite. They stayed on the field, they spoke with fans, they waved, they let the fans just get their emotions out, cheers, photos, just everything. Third, and this one is really, really important. And honestly, it was emotional. It was emotional because it was really heartfelt. It was a real gesture. And that is to the grounds crew. Ooh, I'm back. Sorry. And that is to the grounds crew, who was seen scooping up with shovels, dirt all around the field, pouring it into whatever fans could find. Water bottles, cups, hats, hands, literally just people holding their hands out. The head of the grounds crew was seen heavily crying after he had lined the field for the last time before the last home game. I'm trying to keep it together because sports makes me emotional, man. And last, and most importantly, to you Oakland Athletic fans who showed up early and tailgated on a Thursday morning for a noon game. They packed the house, standing room only of nearly 47,000. They watched Oakland A's legends Ricky Henderson throw out the first pitch and Barry Zito sing the national anthem. They watched their team win. They waved their flags. They held up their signs. They sported their green and yellow strong. They chanted F. John Fisher. I broke my rule of not saying his name. They sang celebration after the win, what they do all the time. Let's go Oakland chants while their players and their teams wave goodbye. Fathers and sons hugged and cried. Lifelong fans stood around for 2 hours after the final pitch until they were finally had to leave because the stadium was closing. They remembered their team, their memories, their triumphs, and their heartaches. They remembered Billy Beane and how he changed baseball forever. 4 wild card berths, 17 American League West Division titles, 15 AL pennants, 9 World Series titles, the latest being the 89 sweep of the San Francisco Giants with the heroes of Dave Henderson, Jose Canseco, Ricky Henderson, and Dennis Ericksley leading the way. They remember the Basham Bros of Canseco and McGuire, the Moneyball teams that changed baseball with the legendary Big Three of Hudson, Zito, and Mulder, Tim Hudson, Barry Zito, and Malk Mulder, the countless players who became heroes playing above their averages. I feel for you in my heart and in my soul. I hope you get baseball back. I hope you get sports back in Oakland. I know we had a lot of deaths on the show, so I should have been more emotional on that, but seeing a team ripped out of a city after watching other teams get ripped out of their city, we feel your pain, especially here in Cleveland. I think my dad says it perfectly as someone who watched their team leave. We feel your pain. So the Oakland Athletics players, staff, grounds crew, and most importantly, the fans, you are a Straub Bro of the week.
Very well said, man. Very, very well said. It's tough because you watch back, and when those teams are even halfway decent, that stadium is absolutely packed to the brim, and the fans are some of the best fans in the world. And to just see that that's no longer going to be able to happen unless they become Giants fans is just very, very tough to see. Listen, I've had discussions with our father. he didn't watch football until the Browns came back because there was no point, there was no fun if you couldn't watch your own team play the game every Sunday. And so when you see
I
something
was
like
alive
that,
in the
it's
living
just,
room watching the Cowboys while Dad would not watch football.
so it sucks. There's no other way to put it than it sucks. It's like losing a part of you. And so I really hope that someday we can get him back to Oakland because it's not just the revenue. It's not just about the ticket sales. It's not about how much merchandise you can sell. It's not about the prices you can put on things. It's about how it impacts a city and how it makes people feel. And I get that Las Vegas probably has some really big fans and everything like that, but just to lose such an historic organization just to put one there just feels wrong.
Man, that's very well said. And I want to share this. I want to make sure this is clipped. I want to get this out to the Oakland fans. That's real. That's from my soul. I don't make up emotion on this show. Anybody who knows me knows that. Trust me, I'm a grown man who cries. It hurt me to write that. I was emotional writing it, and that's as real as I can give it to you. So, yeah, man, that's a tough one. All right. Let's move on. Let's get happy.
Well, at least for you. Oh, we're doing Guardians. Yeah, okay, I can get happy then.
Oh, no, wait, pause. You're right. I'm sorry.
I was like, I can't be happy during this segment.
More misery for you. All right, let's get rolling. NFL time. Week 6. Lucky's falling over. Week 4 was upon us. I don't know where week 6 came from. And we had some results. Let's start with Thursday, where, let's be honest, I told you that the Cowboys were going to win that game and be the Cowboys are back. The Cowboys are back. Okay, we didn't do that, but I didn't lose you your parlays, okay? We covered. We did our thing. We did what we were supposed to do, and we won. Other than that, let's keep it rolling around the NFL. As always, mine are never in the same order as Drew's because I don't know what order he does his in, but I do mine off of ESPN.
The one from ESPN?
I copy the results, man, so I don't know how we're never in order, but I think it's great. So start Sunday. The Falcons took down the Saints 26-24. So we do have the first one right. A big win for the Falcons. A big loss for the Saints. And yes, Nick, I did call a blowout get right victory. Yes, you are right. But hey, we won, damn it. Okay. The Bears took care of the Rams 24-18 as Caleb Williams is getting rolling. The Vikings, yes, my Vikings. I'm calling them my Vikings. Won against the Packers 31-29. No, I think Jordan Love was rushed back a little bit. I think they could have waited another week. I mean, they did put up 29 points, but still. The Colts beat the Steelers 27-24 as the Magic runs out on that garbage truck or garbage dumpster on fire floating down. The Broncos upset the Jets 10-9 as Bo Nix beats Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I don't know what is wrong there. Right. Ugly.
That game was terrible, man.
Awful. And there's my Steeler fan checking in. I know.
I was waiting.
I'll see you this week, buddy. If I didn't have soccer, I would love to get together for the game. But yeah, that Broncos Jets game. I know the Jets are trying to get rolling come playoff time, but man, they need to look at least a little bit better in the regular season. And yes, it is worth pointing out. Number one, yes, Denver's defense is pretty good. And back to that other game, Joe Flacco, baby. Joe Flacco for the Colts, baby. Moving on. Baker touchdown maker, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers took care of the Eagles 33-16. Joe Burrow and the Bengals in the Andy Dalton revenge game won that one 34-24. Texans beat the Jaguars 24-10. Commanders with a massive beatdown of the Cardinals 42-14. The 49ers beat up on the Patriots 30-13. The Raiders upset the Browns 20-16. We will come back to that later. Chiefs over the Chargers 17-10. Ravens big over the Bills 35-10. And our Monday night battles, Tennessee 31-12 over the Dolphins, and Detroit. Man, Jared Goff, 18 for 18, 200 yards, couple touchdowns, and one receiving, 42-29 over the Seahawks. But let's keep it at home. Let's keep it with Cleveland. Bruh, 20-16 loss to the Raiders. You're never going to win a game when your best defensive player is in and out.
That's not even it. Our best defensive player was out and he only gave up 20 points. You can't score 16 points in this league and think you're going to win week in, week out. And this is what I was going to bring up.
I was doing it for you.
Watson looked decent. He's looked the best I've seen him play in a Browns jersey other than maybe the Ravens game from last year. But the execution on offense and sometimes defense just wasn't there. You had drives from Oakland where we had consistent third downs and they would just get them. If it was 3rd and 5, they get 7 yards. 3rd and 10, they'd get 12 yards. You just couldn't get off the field. And then when you come down and you finally have, you're on the 15, 1st and goal, or sorry, you're on the 10, 1st and goal with like a minute left. You take a sack. You're down in 2nd and 16. You get one where it's 3rd and 2. You can't get it. It's 4th down, and then you roll Deshaun Watson out, and you don't get it. And it's a poor play call where I feel like that has to be your best play. It was absolutely just like, and I think I've said this in previous weeks. This feels like the Browns team from a couple years ago before we had Baker, where we are finding ways to lose games. Not because we're bad, because before then it was just because we were bad and we didn't have the players. Now it feels like we are just finding different ways to give the game away. And this is what bothers me so much.
Yep, I was going to let you get it all out, Browns fan. So here's the thing. Stefanski's been there for how many years now? I mean, he's gone through the
3.
Right. He went through the end of the Baker year. They got him Watson. Yes. Baker had some injuries and was inconsistent. Yes. Deshaun Watson has had some injuries and been inconsistent. Yes. Nick Chubb has not been on the field for as long as you guys have needed him. This dude continues to baffle the shit out of me how he is an NFL coach. Okay? I don't want to hear it anymore about the quarterback. You had 2 completely different guys, and you can't figure out how to use either one of them. Okay? You've only the only time your offense has looked good, and I completely agree with that. DeMeco Ryan got robbed last year of Coach of the Year. The only time your offense has looked good were a couple stretches with Baker and Chubb and a couple stretches with Flacco. We're talking stretches. We're not talking years or a year of a good offense. We are talking stretches. And I'm sorry. I know you guys have had injuries. Everyone has injuries. And teams still don't look as bad as the Browns. Like, this guy isn't it. Maybe he's a great offensive coordinator. I don't see it. Okay? But he's not a good head coach. We used to kill Mike McCarthy for the way he handled his timeouts and for the way that he would just mishandle time. Kevin Stefanski reminds me as if I handed my son the controller during Madden and he just started pressing buttons when he didn't want to play anymore. And all of a sudden he doesn't have any timeouts left and it's the 3rd quarter and there's 12 minutes left in the 3rd. Like, he just doesn't make sense with his decision-making and what he does. And I agree with that. Yeah. Flacco was the pro's pro and he made Stefanski look good.
So we've had, let's see, we had the first Baker year where they went to the playoffs, where decent coaching job, but I feel like, listen, you had the best running back tandem in the league in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You had Baker with all of those receiving options and a defense that basically let you down. And then you have the year after where Baker gets hurt, kind of a lost season because you don't have a quarterback. and we go with that. Then you bring in Watson. Watson can't play for a majority of the season, so you're relying on Brissett and all these guys, and you play okay, but you don't play well enough to make the playoffs. Then last year, Watson plays good, you're doing okay, and then you get hurt, and then here comes Flacco, and like he said, Flacco leads this team. So you have kind of these ideas where you don't really have a season where you go, that's coaching or that's a leader. And that's the issue. You look at Dan Campbell and what Goff was before he went to Detroit and what that team was before he came, and look at what he's trying, because that's a leader. He may not have the best play calling and he may not be, this genius, but he gets those dudes fired up and he gets those dudes ready to play for each and every one of those players, no matter what. And I think that's the issue here is we want this fantastic genius of a guy, and he's not that. And so we go, okay, well then get the guys up and get going. And he's not that either. He's a middle ground of each, and you can't be that in the NFL. You got to pick something to lead men, and it's not working.
I don't think there's a move to be made this year. I don't think there's a guy to me, unless you go, oh my, here you go, Browns fans, unless you want to reunite with Bill Belichick. But I don't know it's going to take a lot to get him off of TV, but I don't know what the move is, but I think he gets the rest of the year. But I think if you don't win, I'm sorry. If you're not in the playoffs, I think it's time to make a change. So, and yeah, I mean, you barely beat Jacksonville. Can you run through this week's NFL segment while I run to the bathroom?
Absolutely.
You're my guy.
So, as we can see, your Thursday night game tonight, the Bucs travel to Mercedes-Benz and take on the Falcons. I think that'll be a really good game. One of the better ones, I think, so far on Thursdays. Your Jets go to Minnesota. Big opportunity for Sam Darnold to prove against a good defense there. The opposite, basically, Carolina versus Chicago. We'll see what happens there. A big matchup in the AFC North as the Ravens take on the Bengals. That'll be good to see. Big test for C.J. Stroud in that offense as they host the Bills. Another AFC South matchup as the Colts travel to Jacksonville and the Dolphins travel to New England for an AFC East matchup. Your Browns take on a fire-hot Commanders. We'll see what happens there. I'm not really too excited to watch that one. The Raiders travel to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Cardinals, after getting stomped, have to go to a team that does the stomping in San Francisco. Green Bay takes on LA. We'll see if LA can bounce back to their early season form. New York, the Giants take on Seattle as Geno Smith tries to rally that team. Dallas takes on Pittsburgh as we will see if Dak and that offense can get it going against a pretty decent Steelers defense. And your Monday night game, your single one this week, the Saints take on the Chiefs. If the Saints can bring back that offense they had the first couple weeks, I think it'll be a fun game. But if not, I think the Chiefs take this one pretty handily. And obviously your teams on a bye, if Ken would take down the comments, please, are the Eagles, the Titans, the Chargers, and the Lions. So remember that for your fantasy teams.
Ken, remember that for your fantasy teams. Although I went 3-0 this week, so I will say that. If Darnold does shred them, that would be funny. My defense is very banged up. If we were healthy and I had DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, I would be all over this because
that Steelers offense isn't good though.
But that Pittsburgh defense is great, and I know our defense healthy is great. I think our offense can score more points than that Pittsburgh defense could score points. The problem is now they're going to be able to run all through that defense. They are going to be able to run, and then they're going to be able to set up the throw. However, a big however, it is Justin Fields, so I'm going to hope that he throws it to Trayvon, and Diggs can make some stuff happen, and the rest of that defense can show me what they've got without their two stars, or well, their two better players and their star.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that other than Fields, I don't think they can run the ball that well. So as long as you take Fields out of the equation in terms of running it, I think you'll be fine, if I'm being honest. But we'll see.
Well,
it'll be a good game, I think, at least in terms of defensive action. Offensive, yeah, we'll see.
The problem is going to be the Pittsburgh needs to study the hell. Deron Bland, he was hurt. He was hurt to start the year. So that's where Deron Bland has been. A little banged up, I should say. The Steelers need to study the Ravens' game plan against the Cowboys because that is exactly what they need to do. Scare us with the quarterback run and run the ball because we cannot stop the run. However, the Steelers' offense, no offense, and this is not being me being my normal disrespectful to the Steelers because Craig's in the chat. The Steelers' offense is the poor man's Ravens offense. So if we can contain that and learn from the Ravens game, however, without those two best players, it's going to be harder. There's a possibility that the Steelers' offense looks like the Ravens' offense if we don't play without our two best players.
Yep.
So, and I'm sorry, I do want to cycle back one time. Ooh, your Brownies are in trouble.
Excuse me. We talked about it while you were gone. Hot team coming in on the road. Really, really good quarterback on fire. The only thing I can hope for is that Jane Daniels comes back down to earth and has a rookie moment. And, that's about it. So we'll see.
All right, Straub. Get happy.
Yeah, okay. I can finally be happy for a segment. Let's go.
It's time to guard the land. It's time to come out like Superman. Here's my logo on my shirt. Here's my logo on my hat. It's time to talk about some baseball, damn it. Our Guardians finished up the regular season. The playoffs have started. I will get to the playoff bracket in a second, but I promised you. Be nice if I use my own graphics. Yeah. I promised you some end of season numbers. Here are some end of season numbers. I extended the graphic out because, hey, it was deserved. And I mean, I'm just saying, Austin Hedges had to be on the graphic. But as you see, your leaders in average from top to bottom. I did mention that this team was only going to be good if Quan, Ramirez, and Fry were towards the top of that list. And look, they are towards the top of that list. I know Quan's just coming back. Your big guys, your big dogs, Josh Naylor, Yansky, Manzardo, Lane Thomas. Average, it's there, but the slugging percentage is there as well. So we'll see what this team gets. But this is just for the end of the regular season. We're going to touch on the playoff.
Fry on that list.
What?
Why'd you put Miles Straw on that list?
Because he's there. He's there. He occupies a spot. All right.
Man got a couple of bats, got picked off, and then got sent back down.
Absolutely. Your run differential totals for the end of the season.
You added it to 12 so we could be in the list.
You're 100% right. Normally, this is just 10 teams on the list. I absolutely extended it to 12 to get our Guardians back in there through you, Straub. You read right through it. Not gonna lie. And thank you. We pay him $24 million. We keep him on the damn list. Thank you, Nick. I gotta take this hat off. I look like a chooch. But yes, Guardians in 11th. The reason the Diamondbacks and the Braves had the asterisk because at the time we weren't sure on playoffs and things like that, so that's why they were there. But as you see, a whole lot of AL Central in there. I will say that. But yeah, the Guardians in there at 11th. Whatever, Straub, screw you. Let's get to the playoff bracket, custom made by me myself. Check out that thing out. We did have the wild card series kickoff before the show this week. Kansas City took care of Baltimore 2-0. Detroit took care of Houston 2-0. San Diego took care of Atlanta 2-0 in the wild card series. And our last matchup, Milwaukee and the Mets, they are tied 1-1. They play tonight. I think it's 7:45 is the first pitch. So make sure we check that out. So let's do it. Guardians and Tigers. My word or my sentence for the beginning of the playoffs is be careful what you wish for, Guardians fans. Okay. Yeah. I've heard a whole lot of, oh man, I'm so excited. Detroit took out Houston. I don't want Houston. We struggle with Houston. Lucky wants in on the conversation because he's wearing his green Guardians hat this week. Every one of the division winners, New York, Cleveland, LA, Philly, you're on high alert. Mm-hmm. You're on upset alert. Because the one thing about baseball, just like hockey, and I know it comes into play in football, but sometimes injuries can do you in, who is hot when it counts? And right now, both Kansas City, Detroit, and San Diego are as hot as you can be. And that is scary as hell.
Yeah, it's one of those things where obviously you don't want to play Houston because of the if they get past Detroit, that knowledge and experience in the playoffs is tough because they've had playoff
I get it.
baseball.
I get
That's
it.
but
But
you're playing a team now that went 31-13 to finish the season, was under 500 in like July, and came up and got the wild card spot. This team, while not as good as maybe a Kansas City, a Baltimore, a Houston, is on any day, especially right now, could beat any of those teams and us in New York and anyone on that NL side. They are so scary. I watched that game too. And listen, they have 11 guys in that bullpen that could put up an inning and just shut it down. And so I'm not responding to that comment. It's one of those teams that if they get up on you in like the 5th, 6th inning, even earlier than that, it is going to be insanely tough to score on them because that bullpen is probably the best in baseball right now in terms of from pitcher one to like from relief pitcher one to closer. It is insane.
The things that are in our factor is our bullpen does not have, there is no pitcher unavailable to us right now that is healthy on the active roster. Every arm is in play for the Guardians, which is big for us. But I'm not worried about the arms. I mean, a little bit about our starting pitching, but can these bats wake up and get hot? This has been the downfall of this team since the World Series run. We win this division and we go cold. Okay.
This is my point, by the way.
I understand.
That's my point.
I understand. I get that. And listen, I'm scared. Okay. The confident Ken that has been here all season, he is gone in October. I'll repeat the text that I sent to our uncle, who is a diehard Tigers fan. In October, I'm scared of everyone. I'm scared of everyone. I don't want to play Kansas City or New York. I don't want to play Detroit. I'm scared of everybody right now. I want to play Baltimore or Houston, but that's not possible. Okay.
Although, also, I do want to mention,
okay,
and this is for your not conspiracy theorists, but your how do I put this? Your superstitious kind.
Me.
The last time Houston didn't reach an ALCS was in 2016. And so that's all I'm going to say.
I don't know. I'm scared.
We have the tools to do it. It's just if we can.
You like this cop? I like how the Guardian segment, which was supposed to be the happiest segment of the day, just completely stalled and derailed the show because I'm scared. We're prepared. We have seen this team a lot, and I understand that. But what's scary, and we've learned this in the AL Central, is how often one of us has been hot and then just steamrolls the rest of the division for a couple of weeks. And that's what scares me right now about Kansas City and Detroit. They're hot. They know us too. Can we derail that?
Yeah. And I wouldn't say the Astros came in overconfident. I think they're banged up, like Verlander was out. And they also were old. They're getting older. They're like, obviously you have some good options there, but they're not the absolute fireball team they were a couple of years ago. And you just ran into a hot team. That's you know what I mean? It's not like we're going to kill these guys. They ran into a team that literally does not give up. And so I don't want to say they came in overconfident. I just think that they came in with a good mindset, but ran into a team that had a great mindset and just willed their win. It's not skill that really wins you these series. It's determination and just effort. And so I think that's what happens there.
The first 4 innings of game 1 are going to be, I think, the key for the series. I think winning game 1, and look, the comment showed up as I'm saying it. We need game 1. Absolutely. I love Cleveland Guardians fans. I'm a Cleveland Guardians fans. I know how depressed I'm going to be if we lose Saturday at 1:00 and go into Monday at 4:00 down 1-0. Okay.
I'll be there.
Oh, look at you. I mean, it's two. Which one? Saturday or Monday?
Saturday, game one.
There you go. There you go. So well, you
5 minute
bring
walk
good,
from my apartment.
let's go. You bring good luck. So bring us some good luck. But yeah, yeah. So I'm scared. I'm terrified. Sweaty palms time here. Squeaky bum time, whatever analogy you want to use. But I'm terrified and I'm scared. So that'll do it for baseball. It's time to talk some NCAA football, baby. NCAA Week 5 came and went. I'm finding it. Don't worry. There we go. We had some good games.
We had some great games.
Absolutely. We'll stop by them as we go. Let's kick it off. It started on Friday. Number 7 Miami squeaked out a last-second Hail Mary deflection win over unranked Virginia Tech, 38-34. Straub, I watched this game. Blew my parlay straight to hell on Friday because I liked that Miami money line. I did not think it was a completion. I did not think it was a catch. What are your thoughts?
I tend to agree with you, but it is. I'm not gonna go into the but ifs and the this was a good game. This was a great game, and I will say, whenever you bring up that Ohio State national championship team to our father, the only thing he has to say is, "Goddamn Virginia Tech," because for some reason that is a team kind of like Georgia Tech, kind of like Purdue, where they get a team and it's a ranked team and they have a chance to upset it. Oh, you better be playing well because my Lord, can they come out and play?
Yeah. I will say this. Every great team has one of these.
Yeah.
Has one of these. Well, we just squeaked it out. We just got it done. A preview for what's coming, but I think that's that for Miami. But because they looked great for the first quarter and a half, and then some turnovers were costly, and then that allowed Virginia Tech to get rolling at home, which is tough. So yeah, that was scary. I will say that. Let's keep it rolling. Number 1, Texas took care of Mississippi State, 35-13. Whoo, man. Alabama 41-34 over Georgia, but we've got to talk about it. This game was a blowout. Okay? There it is. Goddamn Virginia Tech. This game was a blowout until Georgia scored 3 or 4 unanswered touchdowns to take a late lead before 17-year-old freshman for Alabama took one to the house. Wow.
Yeah, listen, I think this is game of the year candidate automatically. You have a Georgia team that basically got shell-shocked in that first half. 28-0. Jaden Milroe on fire. And then you have
I small boxed it.
Oh, yeah. Who cares? And then you have Georgia, who finally looked like Georgia and just marched back. And what I think was the key here is you have a good college quarterback in Carson Beck that can move the ball, can throw it to open receivers, can throw a good pass every quarter or so. And then you have a great college quarterback who can make plays on his own with his feet or with his arm in Jaden Milroe. And this is why you have that 75-yard throw to retake to Ryan Williams.
Yeah.
And then you have Carson Beck throwing an interception to end the game in the end zone. That was his third of the day. This is the difference between Alabama and Georgia, I feel like, because you don't have that killer, I'm going to win this football game players right now. And if I'm being honest, along with Jaden Milroe, I know he's 17, but Ryan Williams is a name to remember in 3 years because this kid will be a top pick no matter what.
Stud,
he is unbelievable.
Absolutely. Absolute stud. I will say this, Georgia isn't dead.
No.
These Bulldogs are done. And if they put that kind of performance, a complete performance against any other team, they're coming back and they're winning that game. Let's keep it rolling. Number 3, Ohio State took care of Michigan State 38-7 in a ball game that was kind of close for like the first quarter. Michigan State had some turnovers, but they could just not move the ball. And our Tennessee was off this week. Our big upset of the week, Kentucky upsets Ole Miss at home 20-17. Ole Miss missed a field goal. This Kentucky team has been punchy all year.
Yeah.
They put out some outstanding efforts against some good teams, but Ole Miss laid an egg here. No pun intended.
Oh, of course. And this is what Ole Miss does, though, is like they start off hot, and I can't think of his name right now. Lane Kiffin talks all this smack, and then they back it up in the first couple of weeks, and they look good, and then they lay an egg like this, and you're like, oh, well, there's the Ole Miss. And then they have to beat the Georgias or the Bamas that they play on the schedule, and then they don't. And so now it's a 2-loss Ole Miss team that isn't going to get a national championship or isn't going to the conference championship, and we're not looking at them anymore. And this is the same thing every year. And
we didn't even get to those games yet.
There's just a lack of just discipline in some of these games from Lane Kiffin's teams, and it's getting kind of old and tiresome. And I want to see kind of maybe this year or next year, if it continues, kind of what their people at Ole Miss are thinking about Lane Kiffin as maybe the guy that can get you the players, but he can't win you those games.
Fair criticism. I mean, it's kind of been the thing that's followed him everywhere he's gone. So we will see there. We talked about Miami. We'll keep it rolling. Number 8, Oregon took care of UCLA in the late night, 34-13. Drew, Penn State beat Illinois 21-7. Number 10, you want to talk about that, or you want to just keep it rolling?
Yeah, no, I do want to talk about it because I'm not impressed. And it's not because of the score. It is not because of the score, because I know I said earlier last week that if it had to be it's not because of the score, because they played. I watched this game because I wanted to see Illinois. I wanted to see how they would react. They played like they were on the road. Yes, they had a strong defense, obviously, but all they did on offense was run and make simple passes, which worked. I will give them it worked, but there was no explosiveness. There was no dominance. And so if you can't do that against a hot Illinois team and stifle them right away, and you kind of leave them in it because you're only dinking and dunking and running out the clock, because it literally looked like if they were at Illinois and just didn't want to make any mistakes to get the crowd going. And so when you are playing teams against like Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, all that, and you were trying to dink and dunk and rush and rushing attack your offense to a win against those teams, it's not going to happen. So no, I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, because I'm going to be doing right.
Listen, you're fine. I don't disagree with you. Listen, I teed you up for that one. You're passionate about it. I like it. Excuse me. In our other upset of the week, my Arizona Wildcats finally showed up as they took down Utah 23-10. Hey, Utah or Arizona alive. Welcome back.
Utah was this close to being my John Fisher of the week, because all that momentum just now down the toilet.
Go on. See you later.
Absolutely. 3 points in the first half.
Dude, come on. And Cam played, did he not?
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe they should have left in Isaac Wilson. Number 12.
I'm sorry. No, Isaac Wilson did play. I'm sorry.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't watch much of that game. As I apologize. Michigan took care of Minnesota 27-24. Another close game with Michigan.
They still ranked 12th. Like I get they beat. I get they beat USC, but they're not 12th. I'm sorry.
I got you, but this is what I argue about with people. And this is why when it's time for college football to actually announce their first selection of the top 12, I'm going to nail almost every single one in order, because there is a formula that they have, and every year it's the same. And people argue with it, and I don't get it. And it's partially because the committee denies it, but it's true. Their first official rankings throughout the first 6 to 7, almost 9 weeks of the year are still based about what you did last year. Georgia, we still consider Georgia's team of last year. They're still riding this hype. Texas is the same. Ohio State is the same. Michigan and Notre Dame are the same. They are riding hyped teams that until you really, really blow this, we're going to still continue to give you the benefit of the doubt. That's why they are still.
I got you.
Number 13, USC took care of Wisconsin 38-21. Yeah, they had to rally. They had to rally. What was it? 21-3, 21-0, I think at one point.
It was I looked at it and I went, I literally just went, I was like, fine. It was 21 to 7. And then 28-0 second half point, like absolutely dominant, which honestly I think looks worse for Wisconsin, that they absolutely just could not do anything in the second half.
This is a young USC team, but when they get rolling, man, they can score. Number 14 LSU took care of South Alabama 42-10. Whoo! In our ranked matchup of the week, Notre Dame beat Louisville 31-24. This game is as close as that score looked. We started rolling, and we really did. We started putting points on the board, and then damn, we let Louisville right back in this game towards the end.
But I said this last time. Last week, Louisville was going to get these explosive plays on you in the second half. This was bound to happen. It was just what you did before that mattered. And what you did was really good. I will say there was a very sloppy first half from both teams. Louisville had a fumble, an interception, and 2 turnovers on downs. And then you also had a fumble. But you were up 24-7. Like, you gave yourself that lead so that when inevitably that defense got tired and let up some plays, you had that room. And that's what you needed. If this game was 21-14, maybe 14-10, 14-7 going into half, I would have been concerned for you. But you held on, you did what you needed to do, and you go on to another week.
Yeah, once again, the effort, there was some mistakes. The fumble was just, I mean, Jordan Price or Jadarian Price hasn't fumbled like that all year. It's just uncharacteristic. But we show up against the ranked teams, man. This is a great effort, but like, we got to continue it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, once again, Riley Leonard played good. We win. This is the formula for Notre Dame right now, and it's all we've got. I will say though, I was screaming at some point last week, and even maybe a little bit this week, that I wanted to see Carr. I wanted to see the kid because that kid can throw. But they made it happen with some fumbles and some stuff. But much needed week off this week for my Irish. Let's keep it rolling. Number 17, Clemson took care of Stanford 40-14. Number 18, Iowa State blanked out Houston 20-0. In our other ranked matchup, Kansas State beat up Oklahoma State 42-20. I think we can put a bow on Oklahoma State's chance for the Big 12. And what a comeback by Kansas State.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Oklahoma State came out to play initially. They were up 13-3, 13-7. But Lord, a fumble, missed field goal in the first half to give up the lead, and then 2 interceptions to put the game out of reach in the second half. And again, Ollie Gordon went on under 100 yards rushing. This is just such a disappointing season compared to last season, because you have Ollie Gordon from last season playing. This team, I think, either plays it close or beats Utah and then beats this Kansas State team, because
my correction would be, I don't think it would matter if Ollie Gordon's numbers from last year were there. The offensive line from last year is what is missing key. I know they returned skill position guys, Ollie Gordon, Alan Bowman, and the wide receiver. But the offensive line is awful. And that's why they're not winning.
And it's absolutely disgusting to look at, because that's the only issue. This defense is okay. It's like a bend, don't break. But like you said, when you're going 3 and out because your team can't stay on the field, you give up plays like this. And like I said last week, if Kansas State controls games, they will win. They didn't control the game early on, and Oklahoma State was looking good. But then you force some turnovers, you take control of the game, and yet you win by 22 points. This is Kansas State's motto. This is their model. They are going to play by this. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yep, and that sword is turned, unfortunately, back towards them, and they continue to fall on it. So we will see what happens with them. Keeping it rolling. Oklahoma squeaked out a 27-21 win over Auburn. Ooh. Yeah, sweated that boy out. BYU, number 22 BYU, beat Baylor 34-28, and rounding out our top 25, number 24 Texas A&M, won another close one against Arkansas, 21-17. And Drew's Boise State Broncos, in their debut in the top 25, took care of Washington State 45-24. The Ashton Genty Heisman watch is alive, and I love it.
It's
so
fantastic.
Absolutely. So that's week 5. Let's see what is going on this week. Now, we do got a couple big games, but your big game breakdown presented to you by the Falls Rapid. Spread the wave, and bro, let's ride this week 6 wave. Number 1, Alabama takes on Vanderbilt, or pause, sorry. Let's roll on our big games, and then we'll roll through the rest of the top 25. So let's start with our ranked matchup. Number 9, Missouri travels to number 25, Texas A&M. And I feel like we're going to just repeat what we did last week or weeks ago. But have we mentioned before that this is a game that kind of depends on which Missouri team shows up? Because at this point, we know what A&M is. They play really good defense. Their offense is limited. Missouri, after outscoring their first 2 opponents, which were bad, to the tune of 89-0, they have beaten Boston College by 6, Vanderbilt by 3. Now, A&M can't light it up. They are at home, and I know from week 1 how damn loud that place is and how hyped they are at home. So this will be a good matchup, but I think Missouri's luck might be running out.
I tend to agree with you here because if you look at the previous 2 games, you had a Boston College team that just cracked the top 25, led by Bill O'Brien, that was going to give them a tough matchup and did, right?
Yep.
But Missouri was at home. Then you play Vanderbilt, a scrappy team that's playing better than they have, but it was at home. Now you're playing Texas A&M, a team that literally has been perfect after their loss to Notre Dame. They had some close games, but the momentum is there. That are now playing at home. So you are going to have to play a insane crowd with Texas A&M against a quarterback in Marcel Reed who has yet to throw an interception this season. This really has put up or shut up writ all over it. This is your test. You need to win this game if you are going to be considered a legit team this year.
And if Missouri does win this game, it's going to set the tone for the rest of their big games coming up because the big dogs are on their schedule. There's some more heavy hitters coming, but this is the start of the real, what was supposed to be the real test of the schedule. So we will definitely see, like I said, we know what Texas A&M is showing up. So if this stumbling Missouri team rolls in, they're going to get thumped at College Station. If the Missouri team that can play rolls in, they're going to give Texas A&M a hell of a game, and they have a chance to really cement themselves in the SEC. That's our ranked game of the week. The other 2 games I feel like are important games, so we're going to run through them as well. Number 12, Ole Miss travels to 3-1 South Carolina. The Gamecocks are a field goal away from being undefeated, and this game being even bigger. But with Georgia and Ole Miss taking losses this week, this is still a major game in the SEC. And I will say this, if Ole Miss hadn't lost last week, I think they would be in even more trouble. But I do know, and I know we can be critical of Lane Kiffin. I know Lane Kiffin has got this team fired up and ready to go. At this point, you can chalk it up in the locker room about the Kentucky game. Okay? You saw the effort that they put against Georgia. That's who they are. So if you're in the Ole Miss locker room, hey, Kentucky's a good squad. Let's go show South Carolina who we are. However, if I'm in that South Carolina locker room, I got that 31-6 beatdown of Kentucky that they put up to let them know you can compete with this Ole Miss team. And if you bring your best game in Columbia, which is a tough-ass place to play, you can hand Ole Miss its second loss before Ole Miss even gets to the toughest part of its schedule.
Yeah, I know you're high on the South Carolina team. You have been since beginning of the season. This is very much going to be who starts fastest because we saw against LSU, South Carolina came up and absolutely just laid it to LSU, and it took a very good LSU comeback to really put off that the SC win. But if they can do it against Ole Miss, I believe that they can hold off that Ole Miss offense long enough to keep that win. They just have to start fast. So all Ole Miss has to do is, I guess, just soften that energy going out from South Carolina to start the game, get to the first, second quarter, either lead or make it close, and I think they can win this game.
I listen. The game plan is there for South Carolina, man. I'm telling you. I'll touch more on that here in a couple in a graphic or two. But I think this South Carolina team is punchy. Even if Ole Miss plays its best game, I think South Carolina is going to hang in there. So, like I said, we'll see what effort we get from either one of those teams. And our last big one that we're going to touch on. The number 8 Miami Hurricanes travel to California to take on the Cal Bears. The Hurricanes coming off that controversial last-minute Hail Mary against Virginia Tech to remain undefeated. Cal beat up on UC Davis and San Diego State, games they were winning or were supposed to win. But they also have an impressive 21-14 win over Alabama. But their lone loss is bad, and it's a 14-9 loss to Florida State. So they're still punchy, and I do expect Cam Ward and Miami to bounce back. But they're traveling to Berkeley, California. It's a 10:30 start time. If they bring the same effort that they brought against Virginia Tech, they're going to be in trouble because Cal, even in its loss, has not given up more than 14 points this year.
I get your methodology on that, and I also think that you are a very big proprietor or contributor to the Pac-12, even though they're not Pac-12 anymore. The Pac-12 and Knights kind of feeling there. I think Miami rolls this. I think that scare was enough. I think they get back rolling. I don't think Cal has enough in the tank, especially after that loss to Florida State. I just can't see it. I got Miami rolling big here.
This is going to come head to head in terms of things that I say, because my preseason graphic about the U being back, I mean, they look kind of damn back right now. But my other thing that I've been preaching about throughout the shows has been traveling to these late night California teams and how dangerous it can be sometimes. And I've pretty much been wrong every week. So something's coming ahead this week. Either California is dangerous to travel to on a late night, or the U is back and they are rolling. So let's touch on the rest of your top 25. Alabama travels to Vanderbilt, 4:15 on the SEC. I added the channels this week. You see that on the SEC network?
Can't even get the SEC network.
I'll share that with you. Texas is off. Ohio State travels or takes on Iowa on 3:30 on CBS. Tennessee is back in action against Arkansas. Georgia looks to rebound against Auburn. The Oregon Ducks take on a punching Michigan State team. Drew's Penn State take on UCLA at noon on Fox. The Miami Hurricanes, like we talked about, travel to Cal. Missouri and Texas A&M. Michigan at Washington. More to come on that game because there's some interesting bets to possibly look at. USC takes on Minnesota in our late night game there. Ole Miss, we talked about, travels to South Carolina. LSU versus Wisconsin. I
don't even want anyone to win in that game. Jesus.
I know that's I don't mind Ryan.
Brian Kelly and Luke Fickell. Good Lord.
Yeah, and I heard something this week that was interesting, and that was the fact that because Brian Kelly came from Notre Dame, he's getting more hate down at LSU. No, we just don't like Brian Kelly. My Irish are off this week with a much needed rest. Clemson travels to Florida State in a potential tough trap game there. If Florida State decides to show up, don't look at me like that. Iowa State takes on Baylor.
50.
Yeah, and then we've got a nice chunk there in the middle to bottom area of idle teams. BYU, Utah.
All Big 12.
Yeah, all Big 12. Big 12 taking a week off. BYU, Utah, Oklahoma, Kansas State, all off this week. Drew's Boise State Broncos up to 21 in the country. They take on Utah State. Louisville down 7-22, take on SMU, a potentially tough game there. SMU is no joke. Indiana, welcome to the top 25, 5-0. They take on Northwestern. These Big Ten teams making a push. Illini, our Illinois Fighting Illini dropped 5. They take on Mississippi State in a weird Big Ten SEC matchup there. And then they're at the bottom. UNLV won again as they remain in the top 25. They take on very dangerous Syracuse this week.
Seems like they didn't need their quarterback, I guess, right?
More on that as we get rolling here. So let's take a look at last week. I'm having a hard time. I'm like freezing through my graphics, so I got to switch off of here. There we go. We have some green checks. More on the NFL side. Remember, Upset Central is just a games to look at. So we
All
did
the
get
NFL.
we did good. I missed that Detroit box, but we absolutely killed it on NFL. BYU, thank you. Alabama, thank you. Arizona, thank you. Everyone else, no, thank you. And
Sorry.
our spread party was a little bit disappointing. Excuse me. This week, only Boise State and Liberty took care of things for us there. Everyone else dropped the ball. But
I will say,
go ahead.
while we did miss some opportunities, like I said, in the pick six, the fumble, and then 2 missed field goals, we also were down our starting running back after the first drive and our second string running back into the third quarter. So it's not an excuse, but I want to preface we only lost by like 3. So not all bad.
It's an excuse, but that's okay. Bro,
100%.
we've got a new graphic this week.
Oh yeah.
Because we're gonna win enough money to go to retire on the beach, baby. It's time for Big Bros Big Bets. Let's start with the spread party. I've got a lot in here. This is not a parlay, although if you want to put it together, you'll be rich. I like Syracuse plus 6.5. I think they could potentially upset this UNLV team if you believe that their luck is running out. I got Michigan State plus 24 against Oregon. I just think it's a really high spread, and I think Michigan State could bounce back and put in a good effort. Missouri plus 2.5 over, and then I've got Texas A&M minus 2.5. Whatever you like, I think you should ride with it. Whoever you think is going to win this game, take that bet, whichever one. Buckeyes, welcome to Big Bros Big Bets. Maybe you'll help us turn it around. I like the 19.5 over Iowa. I don't think this Iowa team can score, and I think Ohio State is just going to put so much pressure on them that they will eventually crack. Bowling Green minus 14.5 over Akron. Bowling Green has kind of struggled in the games against the non-big time opponents where they've really showed up. I think they put that together against a not very good Akron team. Sorry, Akron U. I like Clemson minus 14.5 against Florida State. I mean, come on, it's Florida State. Here's the interesting one. Michigan, not favored. When I checked this, they were plus 2.5 underdogs. I like that. I don't understand. I know they're struggling, but I don't think they're going to lose this week. Tennessee minus 13.5. Welcome back to the spread party. Let's get it rolling. I do like USC minus 8.5 as well. Then give me the U minus 10.5 to bounce back. Drew believes in them as well. Give me Texas minus 14.5.
I do.
And give me Arizona minus 6.5. My upsets of the week, I like Syracuse at that plus 184 over UNLV. South Carolina, if you're riding with me on these Gamecocks, plus 255 over Ole Miss. I mean, it's just fun. I didn't put them on there, or I did put them on there because it's fun. Florida State plus 460 over Clemson because that would just be hilarious. I did mention Michigan. That is Washington that they're playing. Like I said, they're underdogs. Give me Michigan plus 112 over Washington. Kennesaw State plus 570 over Jacksonville State. I thought this Kennesaw State team would be a little bit better, but maybe they can get some magic rolling. North Carolina, you let me down so bad last week after being up, I think, like 30-3 on Duke, and you let them come all the way back and beat you. But I think you'll come bounce back against Pitt. Stanford plus 255 over Virginia Tech and Oklahoma. Oh, no, wait. That's not this week. Did I put Oklahoma, Texas up there? I did. That's okay.
Oops.
Ignore me. Ignore that Oklahoma one. And as of last night, fresh off of the Detroit win, the Guardians were minus 148 in their game one. If you were interested in that, I'm probably not going to touch it because I'm terrified of betting on the Guardians.
Never bet on your own team.
In the playoffs, I don't follow that rule, which is why they lose, but that's okay. And then I'm feeling hot on this NFL streak, okay? We put together a good one last week. It hit, so let's run this together. I like the Vikings minus 2.5, the Ravens minus 2.5, the Bills minus 1.5, the Packers minus 3. I like those individually. throw them together if you like them.
So, you gonna put that up for me? Yeah, there you go. I like that Michigan State. I think they'll keep it close. I like that Michigan over Washington. Washington just lost to Rutgers last week. I know Rutgers has been playing well, but I think Michigan is going to be okay there. And then I do like pretty much all of your NFL picks there. I think those are all pretty solid. So yeah, I might dabble. We'll see if I'm feeling it, if I remember.
If you remember, I doubt that. All right, so that'll do it for Big Bros Big Bets, and it's time to kick it over to the footy. Bro, let's rapid fire some footy so we can all get out of here, but still give the people what they want.
Absolutely.
Boom, there's your Premier League. I've got some talking points, so let's talk the EPL first. My first talking point: United sucks. And that would be Manchester United. Yeah, we suck. 3-0 loss to Tottenham. Red card by Bruno Fernandes. We suck. We suck.
I'm gonna ask this question real quick, and I'm sorry because we'll probably get into a rant on it. But I think that has to be talked about. Agree or disagree? Has there been progress from Ten Hag since year one?
No.
I agree.
And this is what's disappointing. Everything, I was so excited to begin the season because for the first off season, and I couldn't tell you how many years, we killed it. We did everything right. We bought players that we needed. We got rid of guys that no longer wanted to be on the team and that we didn't need, minus one glaring one, and that would be Scott McTominay, who I didn't want us to get rid of. And it's kind of showing that we kind of could use that body there. There has been no progress. Yes, I enjoy some FA Cups and League Cups. Those are really cool. Or sorry, 2 League Cups. Those are really cool and those are really great. There's no progress on the league side. There's absolutely zero progress on the European side, where we drew 3-3 with Porto today, and Harry blockhead ass Maguire had to save us in stoppage time with a header off of a free kick when we were down one man because my John Fisher award of the week, Bruno Fernandes, got another red card. There has been no progress. The team looks confused. And this is my thought, and I will end it here. This was my thought that I thought of about Ten Hag this week. Eric Ten Hag needs to play against a top manager who has a game plan that everybody knows how they're going to play so that he can study it for a week and then set our team up. Those are the only times that we play well. When we play against any other opponent, good, bad, or even one of those teams in which they change up what they normally do, or they have some kind of free-flowing formation, which a lot of these smaller teams do because they play with what you give them. A lot of the bigger teams will demand to play their style. But if you don't have a style that's demanded to be played, that Ten Hag could script and defend against, we look lost, we look confused. And on top of that, that's on the defensive end. When we have the ball, we don't look like we have a plan other than to hope Garnacho beats somebody, hope Dallo beats somebody, hope Rashford beats somebody, hope Bruno makes some magic happen. It's not there. I actually think this team would have been better with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with this ownership group in backing. That's how bad I think this is going right now.
So is it time to pull the plug?
I mean, I sent the group chat to you and the Marzinski brothers, or I sent it into that group chat that apparently from higher ups in United that this game this week against Porto and then this weekend's game against Villa that we'll get to will kind of determine Ten Hag's future. I mean, a 3-3 draw with Porto, it's okay if you had won your first game, but we struggled in our first game. Then we've struggled here. We didn't look good. We were up 2-0. And let Pepe score, which is just pisses me off even more than anything else. So no, I'm sorry. I don't think we're going to beat Villa this week. Or of course, we'll put on the miraculous performance and beat Villa this week, and we'll save his job for another month. But I think it's time to pull the plug. But then I look at the options, and the problem is the United States men's national team took the option that I wanted. And I don't know how I feel about Thomas Tuchel. Sure, I'll try it, but I don't know who's the best replacement right now. It's not depressing, overweight looking Wayne Rooney, who was watching us lose to Tottenham. I love you, Wayne Rooney, but it's not you. I don't know what the answer is. Is it Ruud van Nistelrooy off the bench? Sure, I'll try it. but we're just running another intern manager in there. So I don't know.
Yeah, dark times. I feel you because unfortunately, yeah. Thank you,
And we
Josh.
miss you, and we miss you, Oos. We appreciate you, Oos. Much love to you, the missus, and the baby.
Yeah, it's tough. And I was there last season, and I was there the year before, so I know how you feel on that. Where it's just you're like, I don't know what's gonna work, and I don't know what would help, and so let's hope you can pull around. Because listen, in my opinion, I haven't said this with your other teams like Notre Dame or the Cowboys, where I feel like their prime has been too far away to say that that sport is good when your team is good. Because I feel like your primes are too far away. Soccer is better when Manchester United are good. And I don't want you to be mediocre too long and have that become a Notre Dame or a Dallas where it's like, who cares anymore? Because you are too good of a team to do that.
That was very well said, and also one of the most depressing things you've ever said to me.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So we're gonna keep it moving. Everton got their first win of the season.
Freaking Crystal Palace.
Congratulations. Ipswich Town and Aston Villa played to a 4-goal thriller, which was probably one of your better games of the week. Arsenal put 4 on Leicester in a 4-2 win. Chelsea did the same to Brighton behind a Cole Palmer quadruple. And the best part was he had actually done the practice graphic celebration in the preseason. And then in our other probably biggest result of the weekend, Newcastle get a point against Manchester City, leaving Liverpool top of the league.
For now. But honestly, this is the best for all of us, like we said last week. City playing okay is best for all of us because, listen, they were out without Rodri, who was going to be gone for the rest of the season, and they were without De Bruyne for at least this game. There was no creativity in that final third. And so now you kind of see what you can do. If you can stop now De Bruyne from kind of making those creative passes and kind of flowing that team, they are beatable, especially this season.
More depressing. None of those results matter when you're sitting in 13th. But
that's how I felt last season. I feel you.
Yeah. Let's move on to this week. As we talked about, Aston Villa versus Manchester United. Please, Lord, save me. Top of the table, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Manchester City, Fulham, Arsenal, Southampton, Chelsea, Nottingham Forest. So a lot of chalk. Excuse me. I am. This is just taking just a complete turn for the worse. Listen, nothing makes me happier than
Do you
football.
want me to do this? I could have some excitement in my voice.
Sure. No, I got you. Newcastle at Everton.
Hey.
Spurs take on Brighton. And then yeah, I mean that's kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, good matchups. I would ask if you want a win, a good performance, or both to be okay with Ten Hag staying, but I don't want you depressed again, so we'll skip that.
If a loss guarantees me he's fired, I'll just skip the game this week. I'll take my loss and we'll move on to next week. So I won't even be mad. Let's move on to the MLS. I can be happier here. Yeah, I understand. Your FC Cincinnati are limping into the playoffs. The Columbus Crew also lost to the top of the Eastern Conference, Miami FC or CF. Sorry, I apologize. I thought that was
Club de Football.
Yeah, I thought you screwed it up. That was me. But bro, we have a 3-way tie for the final series playoff with Toronto, Philly, and Montreal Toronto, Philly, and DC United all tied with 37 points. You're going to have to explain it to me because I have no idea what happens.
Yeah, so obviously we go off goal differential. I will start putting that up later on. We have 3 games remaining. And so honestly, anywhere between Montreal and Nashville technically have a shot of getting in these playoffs, which I think is very exciting. It kind of feels like lesser of a relegation battle right now. Who's going to be able to make the playoffs and squeak in? Montreal, a very big bounce back season from their pretty poor season last season. Toronto, a hot start, but really fading towards the finish line. Philly, Really disappointing season, but can kind of get back up to there by making the playoffs. DC, listen, they finished last season, so making the playoffs would be amazing, but even getting in this battle is a really good achievement. And Atlanta and Nashville, we kind of saw them kind of being down here, so unfortunate for them. But it's a fun race, and honestly, these final 3 games are going to be a lot of fun to watch because, as you can see in the East, no draws this week. You either won or you lost, and it's a lot of points shifting so far.
I got the MLS pass. It's been more exciting to watch than the EPL for me. Moving over to the Western Conference side, I want to bust it out because I remembered it this week. Let's go, Galaxy. Top of the Western Conference, 3-1 win over the Colorado Rapids. Let's go. So that's big there. Down at the bottom here, we have Minnesota and Portland, who have finally kind of separated themselves in those playoff spots. But Austin FC, I mean, it would take a miraculous.
It would take a lot, yeah.
It would take a lot, but they would need a lot of losses and a lot of wins in these last 3 games. But it's kind of more wrapped up there in the Western Conference. But as we do have that run in, we'll see what happens.
Absolutely.
All right. So that will do it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I think I went one. Is that right? Yep.
No, you're good. Yep.
Western Conference this week, we take on Toronto. And then they're at the bottom where it does count. So Toronto definitely needs a win. Philly definitely needs a big win over Columbus. So, and Toronto needs a win over Inter Miami too. So
DC's got the best chance there. They're playing New England. So
yeah. So we will see what happens. This graphic could look completely different come next week. And then on the Western Conference side, I take on Austin FC, who desperately need a win. We'll see what happens in terms of me resting some players. And then Portland take on FC Dallas to kind of hopefully try to solidify themselves in that playoff spot as well. And that will do it for your EPL and for your MLS. So everybody knows what it is time for. It is time for. Oh, hold on. Make sure the music was turned on. We were about to have an issue. Andrew Straub, it's time for Americans Abroad.
Thank you, Ken. Listen, we had a lot of goals today. We'd actually have 2 pages. Christian Wilson scores again on a 3-0 win. Fuller and Balogun finally gets on the score sheet again, and a goal and a 2-1 win. Paxton Aronson, little bro at Utrecht, scores in a 2-1 win. Malik Tillman, absolutely fantastic. 2 goals and a man of the match. Fantastic free kick in a 2-0 win. Anthony Robinson got man of the match in a 1-0 win. Didn't assist or score. Absolutely fantastic that he won man of the match that way. Gianluca Busio got 2 assists in a 3-2 win.
Busio!
Thank you very much. Haji Wright got a goal in a 3-0 win for Coventry City. And Josh Sargent scored a goal in a 1-1 draw. So both of your strikers in the championship scored. But that is not what matters, because in basically over a little over a week's time, we have the first roster of the Mauricio Pochettino era. Pretty standard, but it is going to be so exciting to watch this team play under a fantastically led manager.
You are absolutely killing it at the timing. I like the roster. I like that there's some names on there that, are a little unfamiliar, or some older names brought back, that much being Zach Steffen. Give the kid a chance. Let's see what can happen. Our goalkeepers have not been great. Love to see Gianluca Busio. I won't do the Busio. Yes, I will. Busio on this list as well. He's playing good. And then, Timmy Weah, Josh Sargent, Balogun, Haji Wright, all your strikers up there. Timmy Weah is no longer playing in that defensive wingback role for us. So I'm glad to hear that. So we will see what happens. I'm excited as hell for this. I'm excited to see. Mauricio's already talked about the fact that he's going to play a 4-2-3-1, which I'm excited for. That's going to allow some of these guys to really get rolling. Guys like Chris, guys like Weah, and then a 4-3-3, which, whoo, baby, let's go. I'm excited as hell. So I had to add my own little tidbit there, but absolutely fantastic addition of Americans Abroad.
And I will say, there was another quote saying that Mauricio Pochettino, especially with the goalkeepers, his first kind of looking at goalkeepers, and what he's going to want to see is, are they playing minutes? And so if we look at this graphic, right, Matt Turner not playing, Ethan Horvath not playing, Austin Trusty now finally getting some playing time, Mark McKenzie getting some playing time. There is going to be Yunus Musa not really playing, Pepe not really playing. There is going to be, you are going to see, especially after this window, a lot of rumors and a lot of movement in the January window or potentially the summer of guys saying, oh, it's not just talk. He's going to make me play on a club team if he wants me on this roster. And so you are going to go see guys, especially guys, if Des doesn't, well, Des now at PSV is better, but Gio Reyna and guys like that who are not playing, you are going to be seeing being forced to move because they are going to say, I want to play for the national team during the 2026 World Cup in the U.S. So get ready for a lot of movement, and we will track that during January and the summer.
Absolutely. Americans Abroad keeps you on track of that better than any other American soccer segment in the world. And I'll put my brand on that. I do want to say that's going to be a big thing. And that's a big shout out to Taylor Twellman, who has preached that for a while. It isn't just about Americans being at big clubs. Are you playing big minutes? So I absolutely love it. That'll do it for Americans Abroad, which means that will do it for the Straub Bros Sports Show this week. I want to thank all of you for rocking with us this week, watching, listening, commenting live, running us back, whether it is on Facebook or on YouTube or on Spotify, wherever that might be. Thank you if you are on the 216 Sports Network for following us on Facebook or being one of our 5,000 subscribers. What can you find on the Straub Bros Sports Show and the 216 Sports Network? A little bit of everything. 4th and 15 with Mel and Smooth, the Jay Rich Show, the Rulers Minute with Rico McGee, Outside Interference, and the Straub Bros Sports Show. Appreciate you rocking with us, Ray. What can you find and where can you find the Straub Bros Sports Show? Everywhere on Twitter at Straub Bros Sports, TikTok at the SBSS, Instagram, Straub Bros Sports Show. Make sure you check out all our Rapids interviews that have dropped, coaches and players. Make sure you follow the Falls Rapids as well. More on that coming up. And Spotify, Straub Bros Sports Show. Big update coming Saturday. Big, huge show dump coming on there. 4 or 5 episodes coming on the Spotify to catch you up. Big shout out to our friends of the show. Austin Fink, Create Your Own Wave Apparel. Make sure you follow them on Instagram, Create Your Own Wave 2021, and actually get your clothing, cyowapparel.myshopify.com. Fire stuff coming every week from Austin. Make sure you go and check it out. Please, please, please. And as we are the official broadcast partners of the Falls Rapids, make sure you check out our guys at the Falls Rapids. Make sure you follow them on Facebook, like them on Instagram, check out the Cavs promotion. The season schedule was dropped last night. We don't have times yet, but we've got teams and matchup. I will update the graphic next week, I promise, so we can talk a little bit about that. But make sure you check in and make sure you tune into the Instagram page where all those interviews are dropping. Straub, say goodnight to the people.
Thank you. Thank everyone for watching, listening, however you take in this podcast. And I do want to say happy early birthday to my beautiful mother. Her birthday is on Saturday. I would never dare say how old she is, but she is young and spry as always. Mama, I love you. You are my hero. You do everything for me. And I cannot wait to celebrate with you on Saturday because it's the first time I'm able to in a couple years since I've been in Cincinnati. I love you. Happy birthday.
Well said, sir. Thank you, everybody. Our thoughts and well wishes to all our people down south dealing with this flood and dealing with this hurricane. Our thoughts with you. Big rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo and Pete Rose this week. And just thank you all for rocking with us. Make sure you absolutely big 216 Sports Network. Happy birthday there. And make sure you spend some time with your families this weekend. It's getting colder. I might be hitting some pumpkin patches this weekend as well, mixed in between my Guardians and my football. The next time that you talk to us might be one of the most exciting shows of the year, might be one of the most depressing. We wish our Guardians all of the good luck this weekend. Take care of those Tigers, and that'll take care of us. Please remember to always love yours.